Hello, everybody. My, oh my, what a wonderful day it is today. Pardon me. 63 degrees, in case you're wondering. And we're going to take a ride through Gettysburg. Sorry if the phone holder makes a rattling sound, but you know, they don't design these things for video, or at least the one I got. Let's see, I spent the morning with a friend of the show, Ken Mead, and we went around the battlefields. He's going to be the guy who videotapes the Get Out of the Car tours this year. And I don't, if you've been on the tours, you might have noticed him on most of the tours last year with his camera set up on a tripod. But this year I said, listen, I want you to use my camera. I've got a monopod, which will make you more mobile. I've got a wireless mic that we're going to put on Lewis so people can hear him. And let's go out on the battlefield so I can introduce you to the camera and the monopod, and we can walk around and let you play with it and get used to it. And so that's what we did. It was a gorgeous day. A little windy though. It was a little too windy, but a beautiful day nonetheless. And we got some, you know, just shots, just kind of messing around, just teaching him the ways of the monopod, which they're very handy to have. If you're a videographer or thinking about becoming a videographer, I would recommend you get a monopod, but you get a video monopod. And Manfrotto, Manfrotto, is a very good brand. They're not cheap, but they work. And I always say you go with the best you can afford because it will make all the difference. I think it does. So there you go. How are you all doing? I hope you're doing great. I just had a meeting at Bantam Roasters to basically set up another meeting at the end of the month for a coffee line that we want to put out, which actually the wheels got turning over a year ago on it. But, you know, when you got 30 balls that you're juggling, you tend to lose track. Luckily, Chad and Alex, the owners of Bantam Roasters, also are very busy. So it's not like they were waiting on me, and everything works out fine. So we're going to meet about that, but we're going to launch it this year. Yes. Now we have a name for it, and I think Colby came up with it, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a really good name, and it's like, how did I not think of that? How was that not obvious to me? We'll talk about it on AG Today tonight. Also on AG Today tonight, we don't have a guest. I told Cindy, every once in a while, give us a day where we don't have a guest so the crew can get reacquainted with itself and the audience. And we just catch up on that type of stuff. And we do have some things to catch up on. Debbie was on a whirlwind tour of the American Eastern Seaboard and South on her way to Disney. And she stopped at some Civil War sites along the way, so we'll talk to her about that. And then I'm going to drag Cindy into the studio to sit and listen to her boyfriend's high school band. And I'm not talking about the symphonic band that you join, you know, that the school puts on. I'm talking about the band that me and my friends made called Money and Cigarettes. That was the name of our band. It's also the name of an Eric Clapton album. And I found a tape the other day of our first performance in public. It was at a bar that had a what do they call it? Not juniors night, not minors night, underage night, where you were allowed to come in and play music. And so we got to play there with, and it was funny because like we were like hippies, and there were all these like heavy metal bands there. And I think one of them is called like Bloody Diarrhea or something, you know, like just, and then we're playing like Sunshine of Your Love. But they loved us. We went on first, and like the metal bands loved us because we had a keyboard, and nobody else had a keyboard. Nobody had a keyboard in a rock band. I never understood that. And we had no bassist, so I had to do the Doors thing, and I had to play it with my left hand. And they just thought that was the coolest thing. And I remember expecting to get beaten up after our show, but they were like coming up to us like, "That was so cool, man." And we're like, "Thanks, Bloody Diarrhea." So we'll be doing that. I'm gonna see if one of the guys in the band would call in and reminisce with me. But yeah, so you'll get to hear some horrible high school rock band recordings tonight when you tune into AG Today. Isn't that what you're looking forward to? Good afternoon, 6 Questions. How are you? It is an absolutely beautiful day. I don't mind the wind. It's just so nice out. Springtime in Gettysburg. That's right, Mitchell. Golly, gas is expensive up there. Don't get me started. It's too nice a day to get started. Hey, SP, how are you? Ty Webb, yes, caffeinating Gettysburg. That's what we're doing today. Thanks for the winter lectures. You're very welcome, SP. Thank you for watching them and the nice words. I can't believe they're over. That went so fast. But I love doing it. I have so much fun doing that. I don't know what it is that I love about the winter lectures so much. I mean, there's more than one thing, I guess is what I should say. It's not one single thing. There's more than one thing I love. But I was telling Chris about it, and I was like, Chris, you do a really good job of putting these on. Like, he picks the people, he invites the people. They do what they do. It's their choice. But he's got, I don't know if I worded it like this to him, but I word it to him like this now if he's listening. He's got like a producer's mind, a showman's mind. There is an entertainment quality to what he's doing by virtue of who he's choosing. And then, when he does the sit-down interview with Scott Hartwig, he's a very good interviewer. I told him he should do a podcast. He's a very good interviewer. I just love him, and I think that I brag about the Ranger staff that we have here at Gettysburg, and I say they're the best, and I don't mean to put them up against any other staff at any other park. I'm not familiar with other parks, but I just think we have such a stellar slew of Rangers here. Not just the interpretive Rangers, but I mean just everybody. Everybody they're consummate professionals. They do a great job, and they take great care of the place. And beavers aside, the place is well taken care of. And by the way, not only the beavers, but the mowing schedules and all these other things will make a little more sense to you if you watch the Biology on the Battlefield winter lecture. So that's what I'm saying. If you watch the winter lectures, if you watch them all, you are a more well-rounded Gettys nerd. Even if it's something just by the title you're like, I'm not really interested in that. I guarantee you, if you watch it and give the speaker a chance, you'll be like, you know what? I stand corrected. That was interesting. Mike says that would be nice after a week off. It'll be great to catch up with everybody. Yeah. Exactly. I'm looking forward to that. Bethany was on vacation. Debbie was on vacation. And I found an old tape. I have a box of old tapes of other, I don't even know, like probably other, it's mostly music stuff. So once you've heard it all. I mean, it's really not that good. But it's interesting to listen to something after 30 years and be like, wow, I thought we were good back then. And then you listen to it now and you're like, in some ways you're like, well, I couldn't do that again. I couldn't do that today. And then in other ways you're like, how did I ever think this was good? And you kind of get douche chills. So I'm going to put myself in a douche chill situation for your entertainment tonight. So please tune in. Ty Webb says, I was really looking forward to the Sadie Hawkins episode of AG Today last week. What? Oh, I get it. James asked if I'm doing the winter lectures next year. As far as I'm concerned, yes. I haven't been formally asked to, but I do believe that I can do it, and I want to do it, and I will do it. I put it like this: I will do it either way, whether I'm asked to or not. Just like I've been doing it for 5 years. I've just recorded the audio, but like last year, for example, my audio versions of those lectures is the only evidence that they ever existed because they kept having problems with the video. So yeah, I would be doing it anyway. But it's a lot of work, so I hope they actually hire me to do it. Hey, bud, great job with the winter lectures. I missed the live episodes of Tim Smith lectures at Sweeney's. Yeah, he doesn't do them anymore. He does them over at the Adams County Historical Society. I miss going to the Farnsworth House for the lectures too, because it was like, sometimes like the atmosphere or the ambiance of a room really makes it what interesting. Like, I liked going to the Farnsworth House, this cool, the Sweeney's Tavern. It was this cool little tavern. Tim gets there in the corner. No professional setup. He's just there in the corner, does a slideshow. It's intimate. That's what I'm looking for. It's an intimate setting. Everybody knows each other. It's like getting together throughout the winter with your friends, and you're digging into stuff that you love, right? You're listening to a historian you admire share information that he's learned in the way that only he can do it. And there's an entertainment value, there's that intimacy value. You're eating, you're drinking, you're being merry. And so it's a shame that not a shame, but it's sad that he didn't continue it at Sweeney's, because that there was something about that I think really appealed to people. But things change, time moves on, and there's other things to do. But yeah. Good afternoon, Dustin. How are you? Sixth question. Oh, sorry, I bumped the camera there. Sixth question says, Chris Gwynn is great. The Rangers at Gettysburg are the best. Yeah, they are. And Guitars and oh God, here we go. My favorite Ranger is still at Jellystone. Well, of course, everybody's favorite is still at Jellystone. Tarzan says, us keyboard players are misunderstood. Yeah, underappreciated too, right? Especially if you could do rock. Because it's not really a rock and roll instrument, although it is, but it's not. But it is. Two weeks from today, BKW will be in the Berg. God, I'm sorry, I keep bumping the camera. SP says, off topic, anybody read Ghosts of Honolulu by Leon Carroll and Mark Harmon? Huge recommendation. No, I have not heard of it. Is it about Pearl Harbor? All right, here we are with our getting closer to spring view of Pickett's Charge. Let me adjust that a bit. It's so hard to imagine watching all those soldiers marching across that field and, you know, the artillery chopping them up and then eventually the infantry on infantry action. It's just so hard to imagine. BKW, you're welcome, and I'm sorry it took so long to get me to actually get into action there, but I'm glad we were able to do it for you. And I think you got a tour with Jessie, right? And I think you'll really enjoy a tour with her. You know, one sign, I'll take you down to the Lake Beaver, or Beaver Lake, which sounds better. Well, regardless, I'll take you down there. We were shooting some video down there, testing the camera out, and the peepers are out, folks. The peepers are out. Since you're here, Major, you might as well pee too. Anyway, I go out to pee, and you know, we're out in the country now, and I could hear across the road and down through the dell over the knoll, I could hear the sound of peepers, lowlands. And I called Cindy out and I said, hey, listen to this. And she's like, what, crickets? And I go, those aren't crickets, those are peepers. And I said, spring is coming. We're out of it. We're out of the winter. So go ahead, give us one more snow. I don't care. Your white filth won't last very long on the ground. It'll melt away. Also, I don't see them on the battlefield yet, but I've noticed the tulips starting to sprout. I don't think sprout is the proper term, but you know what I mean. SP says, did I ever tell you, Gary? Oh, great. No, you didn't tell me. I'm glad you got that worked out. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Good for you. Well done, SP. Well done. Beaver Bay. There you go. That's a good one. Matt Kelly says, great episode yesterday. What did we do yesterday? I don't even remember already. Oh, with Rick Schrader. Oh, I love the medical stuff. I swear, you know, if there is such a thing as reincarnation, I hope I come back with the mind to be a doctor. Because I just find that so interesting. All that medical stuff. I just hope, you know, that not only do I have the mind to be a doctor, but I also have the stomach to be a doctor. Because some of that stuff, especially if you're a surgeon, Hoofa. You know, when he was explaining how they would fix a broken femur today, with the traction machine and pulling you apart and putting you back together. I mean, whoa. I mean, I guess it's a lot better than having to manually pull someone's leg apart in order to put it back together, but still. Dennis DeYoung from Styx is an awesome keyboard player. I didn't know that. I never really got into Styx. They both sound bad. What both sounds? Both what sounds bad? Oh, both names, Beaver Bay or Beaver Lake and Lake Beaver. Yeah, well. Hello, Eric. How are you? Eric Houston, by the way, went to see our old. So, some of you have probably heard that bridge, but they also rebuilt the second dam that was breached with the beaver deceivers. The drain, it doesn't even seem to be there anymore. It looks, it's either covered with water, and I couldn't see it, or it's been removed. So there is a second lake that has reformed, and there is a new dam back south of the Warren Avenue Bridge. So the ponds that were formed prior to the park putting the drains in and removal done. The Mozart Regiment monument, as of now, is on dry land still, but I don't know how long that'll last. So it looks like they need to do. Sup, 12E nerd, how are you doing? Good to see you. Oh, Eric Houston, what I was saying was that you went and saw Eric, the producer, Moni, do his talk about the Pennsylvania reserves. Good afternoon, Jennifer. Okay, let's see, I think, oh, I don't want to go back that way because I'll lose signal again, so I'm going to go left here. We're going, for those of you who want to know roads, sorry, I wasn't doing it all this time. This is Wheatfield Road. We're heading westerly on Wheatfield Road. Yeah, Jennifer, it is nice, although it is clouding over all of a sudden, but it is nice. It's in the 60s today, and you know, it's just a beautiful day. Spring is in the air nonetheless, right? It doesn't matter if it's not a perfect day, but it's a near perfect day. The wind seems to have died down. It was quite windy before. Oh, wait. Here, I'll turn off the car seat. Maybe now you can hear them. Let's see. Can you hear them now? They're out. If you can't hear them, you gotta take my word for it. They're out. Okay, Eric hears the peepers. Very good. Howdy, Peter. Eric's heading down to the peninsula. Very nice. Very, very nice. We're going away to Harper's Ferry. In April, we're going to Harper's Ferry for 2 nights to stay at a B&B. And it was my Christmas present to Cindy. She's never gone there. And I'd been talking about, we gotta go. Oh no, she had gone there. I'm sorry. We took Major there early on. And she's like, we'd like to go back and stay at a B&B sometime. So she was, perusing the internet and found one that she liked. And so that was her Christmas present. Well, one of her Christmas presents. But to be honest, it's also my own. So I got a Christmas present for me too, because, you know, we get to go, love Harper's Ferry, stay at a nice B&B, and everybody wins. But, you know, it was supposed to be also a getaway, you know, like a break. And I had a laugh the other night because I was like, oh, I can't wait to go to Harper's Ferry. And then it dawned on me that even when I'm taking a break, I go to a Civil War area. Like, I really just don't have an interest in going anywhere else, and I don't know why. Like, I was never really a beach guy, although I love the sea area. Like, I love the smell of the ocean and just the whole nautical theme and restaurants and seafood, and I just love all the trappings of being on the coast. But I don't particularly like going on the beach, and I do it, and every time I do it, it feels good. But then I also don't like it, and I don't know why. There's something very humbling to stand on the shore of the ocean and look out at it and hear it roar and feel the wind come off of it and smell the salt, and you kind of realize how small and insignificant you are in the grand scheme of things. And it's nice. Jennifer says, Matt, or meant to say, Matt, are you getting ready for... No, I'm not going. You guys need to come to the mountains with my wife and I. No, sir. Eric, I absolutely would love to do that. I love the idea of unplugging and just getting the fresh air and listening to nature and not dealing with airplanes and cars and sirens and trucks and people. The ocean is practically in my backyard. I live a few... Oh, well, yeah, you're on Long Island, right? Alcohol and campfires. Sounds good to me. Pete says, all my travels have been historical places. Good for you. That's good. I'm heading down to Gettysburg end of April. Haven't been since 2000. Wow. Well, I'll give you a little warning. A lot has changed since 2000, but probably nothing that would be glaring to you. Maybe it would. I don't know. Oh yeah, it's a good question. Are you going to be here for the weekend of the tour? gear. You have to dress like a Weather Channel host during hurricane for the April tour. Yeah. Yeah, April tours are notoriously unpredictable when it comes to the weather. All right. I need to get more caffeine, but also just a snack before the show. So, unless I crash first, you'll have a pretty caffeined up Matt on tonight's show, and a hungry one. So I'll probably try to get the show done quickly because the snack will not hold me over. Also, I won $28 in a lottery, a couple of lottery tickets yesterday. Very exciting. So that's the most I've won in years. I think prior to that, I won $500 on a scratch-off, like in 2008 or something, which was nice because rent was due the next day, and I was dead broke, and my rent was $375 at the time, and then I go and I had my last $2 in my pocket. Well, I bought a pack of cigarettes, and then my change was $2. I'm like, you know what? Give me a scratch off. And it was a win for life. And I didn't win for life, but I won $500. And it was perfect. Perfect timing. So I was able to pay my rent the next day. And it's, the universe has never smiled on me like that since. But, you know, I haven't been as hard up, I guess. Matt, get some gas, bud. Thank you very much, Matt. That's very nice of you. You know what? Actually, I do need it, so I will. Thank you. Caffeined Up Matt is making me think of Coked Up Werewolf character from Conan O'Brien. It's probably similar. I don't remember that. Gillied Gorilli says, I'm happy with a free ticket that ends up losing the second go round. Yes, I see what you're saying. Yes. That's basically what I won $28 and bought $28 worth of lottery tickets because I'm not going to spend $28 on lottery tickets normally. So I was like, why not? And what am I going to do with $28? It doesn't amount to much of anything anymore. So, yeah. It's going to go low. Blah, blah, blah. All right. So anyway, I'm going to go in and get something there. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. If we don't talk to you tonight on AG Today, of course, you can always watch it archived or listen to a better audio quality version on Patreon with no commercials. And that's for free. So you don't even need to be a patron to listen to that. You could just go and listen, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. I think I saw it. Shoot, $28 is a good night depending on how frugal your party is. Yeah. Gee, you might have to teach me some stuff there, Gillied, because I don't know what I could do with $28 and have fun with it. That's like a meal, not including drinks. Around here, at least, unless I go to McDonald's or something. Ty, he was just a normal werewolf who was bitten by a cokehead in the back. That's funny. I didn't know that. That's great. Oh, Peter, you're coming the 24th. We're doing the tour on the 20th. That's too bad. Caffeine gives me high blood pressure. Yeah, me too. Although since I've been doing the keto diet, I have noticed that without my blood pressure pills, my blood pressure is normal. It's funny, like a lot of things kind of cleared up since I cut out carbs and sugar. It's really it's interesting. My doctor doesn't particularly agree with me, but I check it at home. And I'll tell you what, there's been times when even with my blood pressure pills, my blood pressure was high. And now without them, it's normal, or what they claim is normal. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Are you a reenactor as well as a history buff? No, sir. I'm just a history buff. Although I do have, a couple of jackets and coats and a hat or two and stuff like that. But that's more for branding purposes. I never got into reenacting. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I'm going to spend it on something else. It's a lot of money to spend. And I've hung around reenactors, and they kind of remind me of like Dave Matthews fans. And if you're a reenactor, I think you'll know what I'm talking about, because you're not going to include yourself in this, so you're going to know what I'm talking about. But like Dave Matthews is probably a good band, very talented. I'll give him that. But I can't stand him because of his fans and the way they behave and the way they revere him. And having hung around a lot of reenactors, and I think some of them believe what they're wearing a little too much and act accordingly, and it kind of is you don't want to be around that. Yeah, so there's a couple reasons why I never really got into reenacting. I love going to reenactments though, and I love seeing them do their thing. I just didn't want to get that close. Me too. Reenacting has turned into a carnival. I like campaigner events. Yeah. So like those, I think would probably be, if I were to get into it, that would be more of what I would want to get into. I've gone to a couple Liberty Rifle events, and I love the way they do stuff. Like those guys take it seriously, and there doesn't seem to be, from the outside looking in, a lot of bullshit. Whereas with the other groups, it seems a lot of bullshit. A lot of them seem like an ego trip for the person who started the group. I just, Peter, I'll see if I can get the day changed. Yeah, do that. It would be great to meet you. Lee, I qualify as both. Okay. Lee says history buff and reenactor. There you go. Kelsey says hello. Hello, Kelsey. Gillage says, I don't think I could have come up with a better synopsis. Well, it's kind of my job to be able to put things into words. But thank you. Thank you for that. Lee says, armchair generals. Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of that too. You know what I think kind of started making me look at reenacting differently was when I started to see more World War II and Vietnam guys. And I was like, those guys are still alive. And I just didn't, I don't know. I can't explain. I don't have the words for it, but it just didn't sit well with me. Because, Civil War reenacting, it's a different time. It's way, way back. Most people have never met a grandchild of a Civil War veteran. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating there, but you know what I mean? Like most people have no connection to that era and those people. And so and just because aesthetically it looks so different, you can almost delude yourself into thinking that you're watching some kind of fantasy, like almost like a Lord of the Rings type of or what do they call that? Like LARPing type of thing with, just like people running around throwing Nerf balls at each other and calling them fireballs because they're a special kind of wizard or whatever. Like you can suspend, reality, I guess, and watching Civil War reenactors. But then when I'm seeing World War II guys, I go, like my grandfather, at the time, this was like almost 20 years ago I'm talking, but like my grandfather was like 3 years in the ground at that point, and he was in World War II, and I'm like, well, I guess what it is because like I had always seen Civil War reenactments and Revolutionary War reenactments as a show, as entertainment, first and foremost, above everything else. And so then when I started seeing that in more modern uniforms, depicting wars that people still living fought, then I was like, well, I don't know if I were a Vietnam vet and I'm suffering from PTSD from what I saw there. or what I did there. I don't know if I want to see guys running around in a field dressed like I was, pretending to shoot each other. I don't know. So like that's when my kind of view of reenacting kind of changed. But again, I still love it. I still think it's cool. I still love to go to one. And like any other human being, I'm a hypocrite on the matter. I kind of see it both ways, but I haven't landed on either side of the fence. And yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, if you love reenacting, God bless you. It's a valuable thing for us to have, because I think it does draw the for lack of a better word, ignorant public in a little more easily, to see guys, set up in camp and everything. You go and talk to them and stuff, and you can hold different items that they have, and that makes sense. It's a way to connect you to the past. So there is a value to it. But, the hobby itself, I just, and I don't have time. Okay. We were putting together an early 19th century sportsman's group. See, that's cool. Reenactors are extremely vain, says Peter. Peter, so you're into Rev War. Let's tell you a story. You're speaking of how vain they are. I was an extra in John Adams. A friend of mine was a reenactor. He had a friend who was also a reenactor. But this guy, he had a house down in Sykesville, Maryland, and he had everything. Like, in his basement and garage, he had rows of shelves full of every uniform of every type of soldier that the United States had, from the French and Indian War all the way up to, I think, Vietnam or World War II. And so my friend John calls me. He's like, hey, do you want to be in a Tom Hanks movie? And I was like, it's about time they started calling. And he goes, no, it's just as an extra. And I go, oh, well, that'll be fun too. He's like, all right, well, we got to go tomorrow, and it's in Williamsburg. And I was like, great, we'll go. So on the way to Williamsburg, we stopped to pick up his friend in Sykesville. And we go into the house, and he now, the friend was the connection to the production. He knew the woman who was coordinating the reenactors. So he's like, okay, we need to be, I think it was December of 1775, in that period. And so, I think, I forget what I had. Well, whatever. We got fitted for stuff, and we had everything. We had the firearms, we had the leather, we had everything that went with it. And we went down. And, of course, you get paid more if you bring your own stuff. Anyway, we're there in Williamsburg. We get all into hair and makeup, and then they drive us over to the set, which is in front of, I want to say it was the governor's mansion or something like that, but it's a big brick building in Colonial Williamsburg. I can't remember what it was, but they have an encampment set up on the lawn, and it's supposed to be Cambridge, Massachusetts in December of 1775, but it was April of 2006, and it was 75 degrees because it's Williamsburg, Virginia. So we're all bundled up, sweating, and the assistant director is like, okay, guys, remember, it's cold. We're in Boston in the winter, so you got to be shivering and, rubbing your arms and stomping your feet in place, trying to keep warm and all that stuff. And we're trying not to pass out from heat exhaustion, but whatever, it's acting. And so anyway, when you make a film, if you're doing it well, and you're a true artist, your director of photography there, or someone in the art department, might have a color palette that you're working with. So all of the garments, all of everything, it's got to be within this color palette. And they were going for earth tones, no bright colors. So browns, tans, whites, greens, things like that. I think Washington and maybe one or two of the Native American reenactors and some of the Continental Army reenactors, which I think might have had, something colorful like red or blue, like the Indians had the red. But otherwise, it was, pretty drab, right? This is like militia, so it's guys showing up in whatever they have. But they wanted it to be drab. And there's 3 reenactors there who came with their own stuff. And they're dressed like effing peacocks. Okay, the leader of the 3 of them is wearing this yellow satin, like with paisley embroidery or whatever. I don't know the proper term, but paisley, not print. It's not print. It's stitching. Coat, and I don't know what his breeches were and all the other stuff, and then like a black hat or brown hat, whatever it was. And his other buddy, but they're all like satin and shiny, and and so they finally come over to them because they're standing out like sore thumbs in all the shots. And they finally go over to them, and they're near us, so I'm hearing the conversation. And the assistant director says, "Excuse me, can we get you guys to go to the wardrobe tent to change?" And the guy's like, "Why is that?" And she's like, "Well, because you're too bright. This yellow it's not going to work. We need you to look a little bit more rough." And he goes, "But this is authentic to the time. This is what they would have worn. We looked into this ahead of time, and we made sure to come with the stuff that they would have worn in 1775. Yes, we know, but the director of photography is going with an earth tone color palette, and you guys are clashing with it. So we need you to go to, whatever, to wardrobe." "Oh, well, I can't believe it." And she just turned around and walked away. And so his buddies were like, "Okay, come on, man. Let's just not make a big deal out of this. We're on a movie. Let's go and do it." So as they're walking away, he's like looking at them like, "Come on, guys, back me up here, right? This is what they would have worn." And no one cares to hear him. All the witnesses, the crew, the lady, she just said her piece and turned away and walked away. And then he goes, his like last defiant act is to then turn around and go, "Well, I hope we're still getting paid for bringing our stuff." And you're right. They are an arrogant bunch. They can be, I should say. They're not all that way, but you can definitely find them there. Vain, that was the word you used, not arrogant. And then Lee says, "Which is why I've never gotten into World War II reenacting." Is that what, are you agreeing with me that because they're still alive? And Donald says, "For me, reenacting is about the people I'm with and how much I learn." There you go. I've actually, Gilly says, "I've seen actual combat. I can't really do the mock battle BS, but I do feel an obligation to give good school days." Well, but that's different. I can't respect modern LARPing. Yeah. But see, that's different though. You are a piece of history, and for you to dress up and go to a school or any event that's history based, and especially if it's the combat that you've been in, that's different. That's valuable. But a guy like me who has never been to combat, and I think the closest I've been to the military was going to see a parade on a base. I feel that it's certainly I'm an imposter doing that, and I don't feel that I have the right to presume to dress up as something and then tell everybody that I can teach you anything. And I don't know. There's something that just doesn't sit well with me on that. For me, okay, I've seen actual combat. And by the way, Gilly, thank you for your service. Lee says, "Hitting the nail on the head there." Thank you. Gilly says, "Donald, just make sure you're actually learning. A lot of reenactors speak and people have less of an understanding of history." Amen to that. Lee says, "Living historians versus reenactors." Yeah, living historians are different, and I have a respect for that because they really get into it, and they really, but then you always get people that don't. Every time I go to a reenactment, I ask, "Why do I do this?" Well, what's the answer, Peter? Lee says, "Sykesville is where I'm at. Small world." Oh, there you go. Gilliard says, "I think it takes away from the actual struggles of active campaign life, sickness, and toil to eat a funnel cake while watching a 70-year-old dead soldier filming." Exactly. Kind of lacks the powerful message that could be delivered. I agree, man. Sounds like Don Troiani's basement. Oh, I didn't know that. He's got a lot of stuff. Well, I guess he would have to dress the models, right? Gilliard says, "During the Civil War, bright colors were the fashion." Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. It's not that they weren't the fashion during the revolution, that wasn't the point. The point was they weren't doing a true-to-life history documentary. They were doing life at a poetic level film. And there is a big difference between the two. And that's why, like, do you ever see, like, an independent film that's, like, based in history, but made by historians who happen to have a camera or a buddy with a camera, and they're terrible? There's no story. There's no good direction. There's no good anything. No good audio. No good nothing's good about it. But it's these guys. They wrote a story with scenes that would enable them to wear a uniform on camera so they can look at themselves on camera in that uniform and create battle scenes that, you know, it's like living out a fantasy, you know, and good for them that it's hard to get a movie off the ground. So good for them that they're able to do it, but they're never good as films because you're not making a film. You're doing a historically accurate, you know, to the point where it's like nobody's brass buttons were ever that clean when you're rolling around in the dirt. Like you're supposed to be in the middle of this horrendous battle and your uniform is spick and span. Please spare me. But anyway, I digress. A film based in history is not supposed to be a history lesson. Sorry to break it to you. They're two different things. And so John Adams, they were not going for, I mean, of course they want to be true to the story as best they can, but their number one job is to make an entertaining film. Gilead says, oh, I see what you meant. I respect your level of honor. Oh, well, I don't know if that's honor. Thank you. That's, I don't know, maybe a little humility or just perspective, you know. I 100% agree, brother. Thank you, sir. Lionheart Filmworks are the dudes you watch if anyone hasn't heard of them. Oh, yeah, no. They do good stuff. Wicked Spring was decent. Yeah, I don't know if I saw that or I had that in my queue, but I haven't gotten to it. I think I haven't gotten to it yet. I would not know Cam if it was not for reenacting. So there you go. A curse upon reenacting, right? Damn that reenacting. Your life would have been so different, Donald. No, it's a good hobby. Like, look, if you can do it and not be the guy that I hear people complaining about, and I'm not speaking of one individual. There's a personality type that I'm talking about, which is whenever I witness them, I'll give you an example. This is what turned me off. Biggest turn off. I'm walking. It's a busy, I think it was Memorial Day weekend, busy weekend. It's a Friday night, walking down Steinway Avenue, and I'm in front of the Wax Museum, and I'm in front of what is now ABC. At the time, it was just an open field. And I'm walking behind a young reenacting couple, probably early 20s, you know, handsome young man, pretty young girl. He's in a uniform. She's in a dress, a big hoop skirt and all that stuff. They're walking arms locked down the road. Coming opposite them is an older couple, also dressed in uniform, also in a hoop skirt. And the older man is a major. The young man is a second lieutenant. And as they walk past each other, the kid says hi. The older man stops, turns around, and says, "You forgot to salute, Lieutenant." And the kid goes, the kid just, without even really turning around, he just keeps walking and he goes, "You're not in my effing unit." And he keeps going. But that's what turned me off, is that attitude. And I know that guy isn't the first or the last person to be that way, or the only person to be that way. And I don't like being around that. So there. Wicked Spring is so good. People thought it was over the top, but people really acted like that. I'll check it out. I'll check it out. All right, I'm gonna also check out the urinal because I have to pee now and get some more caffeine. And thanks to Matt, I'm gonna get some gas. So you guys have yourselves a great hour and a half-ish, 2 hours, sorry. 2 hours until AG today, and then your life will never be the same. So we'll see you tonight, 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. Take care. Yeah, Gilly, very nice to see you in here. Hope to see you on a tour sometime this year. Take care of yourself. All right. Later, folks.